Okay, so we're going to talk about Bailey's training and all of his equipment. So when we talk about training, Bailey knows the commands heel, which is walk next to me, sit stay, down stay, come when called, stay on place, and leave it. So he knows these commands, but it's up to us as the owners and trainers to make sure we enforce the commands. So just because a dog knows something doesn't mean he will do it on his own. You have to enforce the command and follow through and make sure Bailey listens to your command, not just mine. So we're going to give you training tools to help you enforce the rules with Bailey. So the first thing we're going to go over is Bailey's new remote collar. So this should be worn by Bailey every day. First thing in the morning, comes off in the evening, so he can wear it about 10 to 12 hours a day, take it off at night, and you can charge it. So before you put it on Bailey in the morning, you're going to want to turn it on. How we do that, when you see on the receiver, which is right here, you see the little red dot right there. So that little red dot is a magnet. It's actually the way to turn on the collar. So how we do that is there's a magnet on the side of his remote. So we are going to touch the two together, and what you're going to look for is a green light up here on the very top, and you'll see that it flashes every so often to let you know that it is on and charged. So we're going to touch it together. You see a red light, that means it's turned off. So touch it, you see a green light, it'll flash letting you know, hey, I'm on and I'm charged. So you want to make sure that you turn it on and you see that green flashing light before you put it on Bailey. This is to make sure that if Bailey makes a mistake or doesn't listen, you have a way to follow through with your command. This is just an extra tool. It's just like if we are driving and we blow through a stoplight and a cop's right there, you're gonna get in trouble, right? Same thing with this collar. So the cop would then write you a ticket. This is basically going to be the negative consequence that happens when Bailey doesn't listen to the command. So next we're going to turn on the remote itself. So back here we have this big button in the middle. It has an L in it. It is the on-off button. You are going to push and hold that, and then you are going to see the screen light up. So Bailey is at level 20 out of 100. That is not very intense. That's about average. Considering he's young, he can be distracted. So level 20 is what he will feel. So if I put it on my hand right here, and let's say my hand is Bailey right now. Let's say you ask Bailey to do a command. So let's say you ask him to go on place, and he goes to place. Great, no correction needed. Let's say he starts barking. Then you would say no, and you're going to push the black S button. So you see that I push that? No. Push the black S button. I can feel that. It is a little uncomfortable, but it's not painful. It is uncomfortable. Would I want to avoid this? Yes, that's the point. That's why we're using it for Bailey, so he will do what you ask him to A, earn a reward, and B, avoid the correction or avoid the discomfort from the remote collar, so that you can follow through on your command, so he learns to respect you as the trainer and the leader. So the black S button is what you're going to push. So if you look at the remote and just turn it to the side, it is the black S button right there. So you're going to stay consistent. It has a lanyard, so you can wear it in the house and you can have it on you. And if Bailey starts to bark, you can say no and push the button and tell him either go to place, sit, don't bark, whatever you're gonna do. The most important thing is we stay consistent so that we can eventually maybe fade away from having to need it so much. But just like anything, if it works, we're going to continue to use it. What I don't want you to do, I do not want you to use this as a threat. I don't want you to see that Bailey is doing something he shouldn't and go, don't make me use this. That's not what it should be. It should just be a way to help you communicate to Bailey when he does the incorrect thing, and then when he does the right thing, we can reward him. So let's talk about that. We can reward Bailey with food, with pets, and with praise. That's how dogs get rewarded. They can also do things that are self-rewarding, like chewing. So keep that in mind. When Bailey's doing a really good job, that's when we reward him. We want him to earn his rewards. So we don't want to just reward him for doing nothing or accidentally reward him for doing something we don't like. For example, if he starts barking and we go, shh, shh, it's okay, shh, shh, stop barking, and we're petting him, that is rewarding the behavior. If we reward the behavior, it's more likely to happen. If we correct the behavior using the tools, it is less likely to happen. So keep that in mind. Reward, likely to happen. Correction, less likely to happen. So going back to the remote collar, we have this red S button on here. That is boost. What that does is that quickly increases the level for a short period of time in case level 20 isn't enough. I use this if a dog tries to chase a car, a squirrel, or do something dangerous and their original correction level just isn't enough for them. So if you look at the screen, hopefully you can see the 20. If we push the red button right there, it will increase to level 40, right? Yes, level 40. It increases to level 40. I have not needed this for Bailey, but it is there if you do need it. So keep that in mind. Red button is for emergencies only. If he takes off and doesn't listen to your command, you need to push the red button. So moving on to the other side, this T, that's for vibrate, so you can kind of hear it on the table. It's very light. Bzz, bzz. You can use it as a warning down the road, but I do not want you to use that button very much right now. I do not want you to use vibrate. I want you to stick with the black S button. S stands for stimulation. So we go to the back of the remote, and that on off button we pushed earlier to turn this on, if you just tap it, you activate the flashlight feature on Bailey's collar. So tap. So if you want to turn this off, you have to push and hold it, and it turns the remote off. Push and hold it, turns it on. But if you want to activate the flashlight, tap it once and it flashes. Tap it twice and it stays a solid flashlight. So if you have him out at night, you can kind of see where he's at. Or if you take him out for a walk, people are more likely to see you because you have the flashlight. Tap it again. The way this should fit on Bailey, it should fit under his chin. You can have it off to the side, off to this side, but it has to be snug. So if it's on my arm, it should be snug to where you can only fit 2 fingers. If it's loose and you can fit 3, 4 fingers in there, it's not gonna work correctly. When you put this on Bailey, it needs to be snug so that the contact points make good connection with his skin. He's got curly hair, so we want to make sure that it's nice and snug and nice and high on Bailey's neck. Don't put it down towards his shoulders, put it nice and high just under his chin. And nice and snug, allowing only 2 fingers. The last button I'm going to go over is this M/C button. You do not need to push that for any reason. What it does is it will change the setting of these 2 buttons from momentary, which means if I tap it, even if I push and hold my finger down, it will only do that little red tap. You can see it on this one, that little red stimulation. Continuous, so if you accidentally push and hold that little button right there and you see a C on your screen, it will push and it will stimulate for however long you hold your finger on the button. We no longer need that feature, so you will just want to make sure you see, hopefully you can see it, level 20, M, and then 1D at the top. This is the dial, changes the intensity of the stimulation. I have locked it. You do not need to unlock it, but if you accidentally unlock it, you would push and hold, and then you've unlocked the levels. So it will increase and decrease. You want to set it to 20, push and hold it down. That locks it in place so we don't accidentally turn it too high for Bailey. On the back is the charging port. It is rechargeable. It'll probably last a couple of days on a charge, but you can charge it at night if you're in that habit. Underneath the remote by the little prongs where the charging port is for the, receiver, not the remote. We're gonna go in this nifty little thing. So we have the charger here. You can charge both at the same time. And on a really empty charge, it'll probably take 2 to 3 hours to fully charge back up, so you don't have to leave it plugged in overnight. If you plug it in overnight, you're going to end up frying the battery just like a cell phone. You have the instruction manual in the box as well. Go over that to make sure you have a full understanding of all the buttons. I went over everything you need to know, but if you want it in greater detail, this is here for you. And then we have this. If he's going to be in the water, you want to make sure you tighten these up right here. So the tool to do that is the little black tool in this baggie. It's just like, you know, a little screwdriver thing to tighten these up to make sure that this is waterproof, but you want to make sure that these are tight so water doesn't get in there and mess up any of the electronics. All right, and then this is his slip collar. So his slip collar, let's pretend my watch is his remote collar. The slip collar goes on just above it, so no more walking him on a harness. We walk him on the slip collar. So if he starts to pull or anything, we can give a correction with the remote because he's not supposed to pull ahead on the leash, and we can also tug it like this. When it's up high on his neck, it just gives us a little bit more control without putting any pressure on the trachea area right here. We sit just above that, just under the chin, right behind the ears. So Bailey did great, but it is super important that you stay consistent. We're going to shut this off. So again, to turn off the receiver, we touch the magnets together. Touch, red light, off. Push and hold this button right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it is off. It's just very important that you stay consistent. When dogs get too much of undeserved or unearned attention or praise and reward, they tend to feel more entitled, and then they do what they want. So I'm not saying you can't praise and reward and love Bailey. I want you to do that, but I want him to earn it. I want him to be a well-behaved dog. You put all this time and effort and money into him. I want to make sure you get the best results possible. So just make sure you stay consistent. It takes a dog 2 weeks to learn a behavior. So he, for the next 2 weeks, is going to learn if you're going to be consistent or not. And then after that, 4 to 6 months of long-term memory. So you have to work with him for the next 4 to 6 months very consistently and throughout the rest of his life, obviously, to make sure that he will listen to you just like he can listen to me. So let's show you all of his commands. Good heel. Heel. Sit. Boy. Sit. Good heel. Sit. Heel. Sit. Heel. Heel. Good boy. Good heel. No. Heel. Sit. Good boy. Down. Good boy. Down. Down. Good boy. Down. Good boy. Good down. Free. Good boy. Good boy. Place. Good boy. Good place. 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 Good place. Place. Oh, did you drop it? Nope. Bag it. Let me grab it for you. Place. Place. Ooh, you good boy. Are you a good boy? Good job. Good place. Place. Free. Good boy. Good boy. Okay. Good boy. Leave it. Leave it. Good boy. Okay. Okay. Good job. Okay. Good boy. Okay, you can get that one. Leave it. Leave it. No, leave it. Good boy. Okay. Okay. Get it. Okay. Okay. Good boy.